Actually is the first time that we're hoping we're going to be really focusing a lot on the exchange of ideas about how each of us perhaps is utilizing Web 2 or maybe not, or thinking about doing it, and hopefully sharing experiences, good points perhaps where we'd like to know a little bit more. Now, I'm talking more than I usually do because unfortunately Johnny Green, who many of you will probably know through the courses out of the Access Centre and at previous events here, is not well this evening, so he's not able to be with us. Fortunately, Daughter is going to be just talking us through a reprise of the last 4 events, which are just sort of identified here in case you've forgotten, as if you would. So we're doing a bit of a reflection over these themes. Bit of a reprise from Daughter and some examples of the application of some of these ideas that people have used and hopefully are all going to say are benefiting from.
Yeah.
Yep, good. And then we're going to move hopefully into more of a discussion or an exchange of expertise or ideas. So Johnny not here is a bit unfortunate because he so often takes that excellent lead on the evening's events. Second potential disaster is that the catering hasn't appeared, which is where Alan's done an emergency trip down to Spa, is it, who provided us with their best in biscuits, orange juice and tea and coffee. There is an infinite supply, unless Severn Trent go bust during the evening, of water available from the fountain there, so if we're getting a bit dehydrated we can refresh ourselves there. But unfortunately we haven't got the top quality sandwiches that we usually have, so if it's your first visit, trust me, it's usually, there's a lot more sort of real bait, isn't there, to coming along. So good evening. So I think without more ado, conscious that the last event we had, were a number of you here last time, we talked about content management systems, which kind of was so fascinating it ran on to a point where we got locked in the building. Yes. Many of us were engaged in that exciting testing, does security really work? And it does eventually. So we need to have an eye actually to when we disappear, otherwise we're here overnight. So 2 minor setbacks, no Johnny, no fresh best quality sandwiches. Things usually come in 3s, don't they? But I think we can count the volcanic ash as already having happened. Unfortunately, Daughter is back from Denmark and is still shaking bits of ash. It is ash, isn't it? That's coming out of your hair. All right. So with that big build-up, over we go. Thank you.
I have a microphone now.
Yeah. Oh, you want it back as well? Okay.
No one will be able to hear it on the video. Yeah, like Chris says, the point of tonight is we're not going to talk at you too much. It's just showing some examples of what some of the businesses who are on as eBusiness champions, what they've done so far in relation to the different topics we've covered in the last 4 months, which will hopefully give you some ideas of how you might be able to use those same ideas, how could you implement that on your site and benefit from it. But we very much encourage the whole way through that you ask questions and contribute, so it is more conversational and not just me stood here talking at you, because that isn't the point at all. At the very end, we'll just quite quickly look at some of what the big wig companies are doing at the moment, who's got oodles of money for research and stuff that we can't really afford, but it's nice to know what they're doing, so that's a little bit of an add-on at the end. We're going to split it into 4 sections. Some overlap. Some people might have done brilliant SEO stuff, which also relates to some of the Susan Hallam stuff and stuff, but roughly, in December we looked at traffic and conversions. In January we looked at the Google Analytics. February we had Susan Hallam optimizing for universal search, and then in March we did the whole CMS thing, which overran slightly. December event, traffic and conversions. This is what we fundamentally say to everybody when they come on board on the program. The whole point of your website is that it needs to make you money somehow. Han is absolutely excellent and a really good guy to speak to if you want ideas. He's just launched a really big new e-commerce site. He does all aloe vera stuff. He's a doctor and he's doing really well with this. There's a lot of credibility behind his products, and he's put a lot of effort into putting this on the website. I've kind of put great homemade videos. He went out and asked for quotes for videos, and we tell everybody you should put video on your websites, but you go out and get a quote and they'll happily quote you a couple of grand to do 2 minutes worth of video, and for a small business that's a lot of money. So Han went off and thought, I can do this, and he did, and it looks great. So if nothing else, it's worth looking at his site just to have a look at his videos, because they look really good, and he did that all off his own back. So great guy to speak to about video. He's doing lots of things with social media, which, and I'm not stereotyping, but kind of doctors and these people aren't necessarily the ones that are really quick at adapting these technologies, but he's just running with it and doing lots of big things. So again, if social media is something that you're thinking, I don't really think that it's got any leg, Han might be a good one to talk to, because it is a proper big business site that he's using it on. Another exciting things to watch out for on this one is he's sending out a big e-shot today that he's commissioned an agency to do for him, and it's going out to 6,000 clients. So we'll be looking forward to seeing what the return on that is. He's had suggestions that it's going to be about 25% opening rate or click-through rate, which is good rate and quite high. So he's hoping that will go through and convert. So again, email marketing, good guy to talk to. And he's got really good traffic levels. This is quite a new site, and he's already getting about 3,000 visitors a month, which is quite good for a small site. Has anybody else got any comments or questions on sort of e-commerce or any good experiences they want to? No?
Is anybody else actually using it?
I think this is the first time I've come. Usually Agile Night comes, and I got volunteered because I wasn't running fast enough. Essentially, we've been through all of the information that's been handed out. We've been our previous video website provider because it was very stereotypical. And unfortunately, in financial services, they all tend to look the same. And in many cases, it's because the networks who actually do our compliance tell you what the format's going to be. So there's probably 500 financial advisors with more or less the same blasted website. So we've been that.
Are you Bankfield then?
Yes.
Oh, your site is coming up in a minute.
Know what I mean?
Yeah?
We've not tried the video yet because we all reckon we're ugly. I mean, every time I produce the video camera, everyone dives under the desk. So if anyone's got a solution for that.
Well, that is an issue, and that is what happens a lot of the time, and especially because many of the companies here are small companies, and people feel that they themselves have to be on the video and they don't want to. But in a small business, often you are the main feature and you are the one that gives all the credibility, so it's well worth doing. No one is watching it to kind of judge you as a person. They're there to see it as a business.
Haven't got that yet. Sooner or later we'll have to tie someone to the chair and say,
Yeah.
stand there until you say something sensible.
Yeah.
Social media plans, I've been doing Twitter now for 18 months, I suppose.
Right?
And also I've started a little blog site as a place to park articles.
Yeah, which blogs are excellent for.
And I've been cross-referencing the Twitter to the blog, and every time I do that I get another 20 hits. So
Yeah.
It's working in a small way.
Yeah.
The only problem is, of course, financial services has always been a person-to-person sale.
Yeah.
If you've been to pension off a website yet, but it doesn't seem to be popular. And my MD has still got this thing about the only way you can sell is person-to-person. And I'm saying, I'm not actually interested in that. I want to meet people who are actually understanding what I'm about to say next and are actually willing to have already produced their documentation out. So I'm not spending 2.5 hours trying to understand what this pile of paper is.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working to an extent. Nowadays, when I'm confirming an interview, a meeting, an appointment, I'm sending them the link back to the blog site which says what an IFA does.
Yeah.
And they're actually now pre-sorting their paperwork to an extent. So I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah, but the other thing with it is, they might not go and buy their pension online and you never ever see the people, but it's just a point to engage and start the conversation, and then you can talk to them for real.
Education is a key part of what an IFA does, because if you go into a bank and they'll say, you need one of these, but no one ever really says why. And that's a key question. And until you know what you're buying, you probably shouldn't.
No, but it's good that even financial services are starting to sort of realise that social media and all these things have got a lot of legwork, because I think they have.